Welcome again to another episode of Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. I am your host, Lionel McDonald. Um, Kanye album still hasn't come out. Talked about it, I guess it was last week, and now we have a full week under our belts. If you've listened, as you can see, I got my Nas shirt on, so that's what we're going to go in on. We're going to talk about this King's Disease 2, and what does it mean? How does it sound? And ultimately, where does this thing measure up right now? So as we know that last week, well, it didn't take, it's a couple weeks ago, and he released Rare, and he said he had an album coming. I don't think we knew. We were all still kind of happy for him for the success of King's Disease. And again, this is a follow-up album on his label Mass Appeal that won a Grammy, him and Hit Boy. I think it kind of surprised to some of us because he's had better projects than this, and let's be perfectly honest. Better projects, more deserving projects. I don't know how he didn't win a song with If I Ruled the World with Lauryn Hill. I don't know how he didn't win on a couple other fronts. Life is Good had a couple tracks that could have been were Grammy contenders. We had Made You Look that was a Grammy contender, and his track Daughters. But anyways, he won a Grammy for the best album of 2020. Now, the Grammys by hip hop head standards is not what we all like to believe is the gold standard. We probably trust the source more than we trust the Grammys, and many albums have not won, or deserving artists have not won. Yeah, I personally, again, I told you, I truly believe that the best album last year was Alfredo. That was nominated. I think, again, I think what the burden of proof by Benny the Butcher was head and shoulders the best album that we heard last year, but it didn't win. So fast forward, Nas wins a Grammy with Hit Boy, and now here we are. A week later, August 6th, is the release of. I don't know if anyone's surprising it was expecting a sequel, but we got King's Disease 2. So this is the third album, or sorry, the sequel and the 13th album of Nas's career, and a very decorated career when we talk about hip hop overall. So we know if you look at the track listing, and I think I got it here. Yeah, I think what stands out, we see we got some, a good length album. It's over 50 minutes long. There are a few different producers that are on it other than Hit Boy, but Hit Boy, again, takes the lead on this. Um, but I think what the unique piece is that we got some featured, and we got some crazy features. So I think the three that jump off, I wouldn't say three songs jump off the page in terms of the features. So YKTV for call it the New Jacks or the Young Heads, a Boogie with a Hoodie, and YG to be on a track with Nas, and Nas chases his flow and sounds totally different, but fits the track. And it's one of the best trending songs right now on Apple Music. Then we flip over, and then I think for the golden era heads, we see two songs that jump off the page. Now we know that, after King's Disease 1, and I think it ended up being on a soundtrack, we got a song from Nas called EPMD. And I think was like, whoa, is EPMD on the song? Why is he doing a song about EPMD? Nas has tributed other, incredible artists. Like he did the track, he did that Rakim track on I believe it was on Godson. But here we are. We get an EPMD too. But when you look at the credits and you look who's featured, we actually get Eric and Parrish on the album. And then we get a verse from none other than Eminem. Now, for those that don't, Nas and Eminem never been on a track before. Eminem has produced songs or has produced a song again, going back to Godson, um, for for um, for Nas. So it was pretty amazing to see that we had Eminem on a track, and Eminem just doesn't spit the hook. Eminem spits a three different flow. It's not even a 60, and I guess it's a 32 he spits. And it's interesting that, between this and then the other song that we hear, he rekindles a classic connection with Lauryn Hill. But with the Lauryn Hill track, we actually get Lauryn Hill spitting verses. Well, she gives us a 16, and a 16 that we clearly will not forget in recent memory. Like, we're talking about really good songs this year. That might be the best song that I've heard, period, in 2020. One, excuse me. So, I don't think we knew that this album was going to carry some features at this caliber, but we definitely got that. Hit Boy's on a song and he sounds good on that. Lesser known artists like Charlie Wilson is on No Phony Love. But yeah, those three features, and Nas is still, he does this thing on a variety of different things. He's schooling cats, he's teaching people, he's getting people to understand. But it's really amazing that he got these people, and the features are all fire. It's just like, I'll tell you, the Boogie with the Hoodie feature, and again, with Boogie with a Hoodie and YG on their track is bananas. They go in, they go heavy. Nas changes his flow, and it sounds totally different than what Nas would normally do, but it sounds totally dope, and I know people are going to be bumping it all summer long. So the features is dope. I'm going to tell you, in some of those features, that the feature artist actually outshone Nas's verse. But I think in this particular juncture of his career, he's okay with that. At least that's just my personal perception on what I think Nas feels about this particular juncture, or time in his time as an artist. And he's continuing to create, continuing to expand his horizons on what he does. And I think, when we hear some of the scores and some of the ratings from some of the people, like, and it's mixed bag. Some people say he's too nostalgia. This is, he still talks about stuff that's happened. So he gives us the Death Row East story. Not going to tell you the story for 40 side. Definitely nostalgic. We go obviously in a song like Moments, but again, he's talking about the past. But to me, that's okay. That's totally okay. This is who he is. This is a man that is, mid 40s, and this is what he wants to talk about in his life. But he also flips and talks about some of his investments, and how he continues to grow his empire, and his power, monetarily and otherwise. But is also, given the knowledge back to the youth, and really ensuring and understanding that there are pieces that people need to listen to. People need to hear Nas. People need to understand that, Nas has got something to say. And, you know, for a lot of people, you haven't taken him in, or you've just heard him and you can't connect. Well, I think he's made, I don't know if it's creatively on purpose, but he's definitely given a little snippet for everyone. So everyone can easily jump on this album and find something that they like. If you're ahead, and I definitely think you can find something. So again, I look at some of the ratings I know that are out there. Pitchfork did not like it. They gave it 6.1 out of 10, but I think everyone else gave it a 7. I see an 8. I see Line of the Best Fit, 9 out of 10. It's just Meta Critic 88 out of 100. So this is a bumping album. And what it would tell you about this album that helps pull this together is I think King's Disease had some moments. First album had some moments, some good stuff, and I think of a couple things that I think about right now when I hear Nas and King's Disease. One, I think of 27 Summers. That was definitely a song that stuck out for me. Um, if I think about Blue Benz, Ultra Black is a song that I definitely gave heavy run. The Cure, people love Spicy. The 10 points, it was almost like it's a different version of 10 Crack Commandments, a different way of going about it. But yeah, it definitely it had some songs. But I think the continuity on some of the production and how it fit Nas, it is just a whole nother level on King's Disease 2. Like King's Disease 2 is an album you could put in, you can ride with it. It sounds dope. You got songs that you want to sing. And I listened to it for like a week. I've been on it for a week. I had some work projects and I really got a chance to listen to this album. And I can't lie. I'm feeling it. I know that Eminem helped pull together EPMD2 because I see him on the credits. Eric and Parrish were definitely a part of it. Eminem also helped produce that track, but Hit Boy kind of was involved in every single song, top to bottom. So, I tell you, standout cuts, definitely EPMD2, definitely Nobody. And again, I didn't talk enough about this Lauryn Hill joint. Lauryn Hill claps back on everyone that's doubted her, to tell her that, like it's dictated what she needs to do, how she needs to do it. You know, um, I think the line that still sticks out to me, I think maybe more than any other line on the album is Lauryn Hill, and I won't say I quote it, but Lauryn Hill talks about that she is saving souls, but everyone's worried about her lateness. And if I've seen Lauryn Hill two times at least, and she was like hours late for the show to start. But that's been her. She's got other things and other things on the go, and she does a lot of good things out there. She's raising obviously a huge family. There's got like, geez, I know one of the Marley boys. She's got like 6 or 7 kids, but she's also, her music and some of the other give back things is really making a difference with people. But everyone just wants to talk about that she's late to things. So I totally get her vibe. I totally get, the song is called Nobody, and it's about, hey, you know what? Maybe you just need to leave for a period of time or forever and just be by yourself and just not let people dictate what you want to do. So I think the song is dope. Um, and I know a couple other ones, and there's a couple nostalgic ones, and I know that I'm kind of saving out a couple ones that I know that will stick. But I told you YKTV, and I'm not the biggest new jack or new hip hop. I have listened to Boogie with the Hoodie and YG. I'm more of a boom bapish guy, so I tell you, of all the new artists, definitely are newer artists. I probably phrase Griselda is my squad, my gang. I will listen to anything and everything they put out. Benny the Butcher right now is one of my favorite artists. So that's kind of my lane. That's where I know where I sit. But listening to YKTV, I'm gonna tell you, yesterday in the car, I played YKTV loud and I played it like 10 times in a row. It's totally dope. Love to hear the guys flow. And again, I think Hit Boy did such an amazing job of putting this album together. So I think a couple of songs that I've caught as of late that really have stood out to me is like, you know, the last four, Count Me In, Composure, and My Bible, which I think is totally dope. I caught it in the first listen, and then Nas is good, and it's a nice way how they wrap up and end the album. But I really, if you look at this album and I think Nas gives you a variety of different things and a variety of different feels to this song. So I really would, then get you to think about, where does this album place? Where does this album place? Hey, the feedback already is that it's the number one album on Apple Music, ahead of Billie Eilish and many others that have been crushing the charts. So this album is hidden, and don't get me wrong. I already mentioned Kanye at the beginning. Kanye album will be hitting and people will be loving when it comes out. But when we start talking about the impact of King's Disease and that people are loving it and playing it, and actually the feedback is good, so you start thinking about like these phases of Nas's career and what you people have truly loved. So you go back to like Illmatic almost needs its own place, but I'll roll Illmatic and It Was Written Together as almost like one chapter. Then we got, some mixed bag. People didn't like Notre Dame's, you know, uh, 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 Lost Tapes is a little underrated, but doesn't quite get the love because it's they call it a mixtape or it's not really an album. But then we got to we got to Stillmatic, and we got Ether, we got Nas Got a Gun, we got some joints on that one. And then we had, obviously you got Made You Look makes Godson as an album. So that's like another chapter. You know, Life is Good still doesn't get the love that it deserves if you move forward. But then obviously you got Hip Hop Was Dead and the Untitled album, which neither of those albums get enough credit. Um, I just remember the times, and I was, working in a store and I had an edited version of Hip Hop Is Dead, and I played it all the time. But I think heavily underrated. It's heavily connected to media and some of the things were happening again in '08 when the Untitled album came out. And I don't know if he threw some people because what he wanted to call it, I don't think he called it Untitled. Maybe it just doesn't stick with people, but I like the album. So, anyways, I think that we easily talked about two chapters with Nas, and then hey, he's did some stuff with Damian Marley, and then I think for the most part, people thought, hmm, might be done. Maybe this is the best Nas that we're gonna get. Period. Like that's the best of what we're going to get, right? Obviously, we've done some really good celebrations with Nas on some of the other pieces. Obviously we've had the 25th anniversary of Illmatic, and now we had 25th anniversary, and I shouted out earlier on a previous episode that the 20th anniversary has the Lost song and the best song on the album, which is Silent Murder. But now we get to this era right now. He did a Lost Tapes 2. He did the Yay album, and those didn't really hit like I'm sure he wanted to hit. The Nas or the Yay album, which is Nasir, had like one song. It came out late. It really rubbed some people the wrong way. But then we got to King's Disease, which caught some people's attention, and then King's Disease 2 is totally slamming. So we'll see where this thing ends up, where this kind of goes down. I think after a week's listen, I honestly can't say that it's a top five album, but I could see by the time that his career is done and dusted, there's no reason that it wouldn't be a top five album. I think Illmatic and It Was Written is one and two hands down, and I think then you start thinking about what's next. And I've seen, I'm in chat groups and I've seen the debates. Oh well, I got, for me personally, I got Stillmatic is number three. I got Life is Good is number four, and then I love the Untitled album, and I got that as number five. Now I easily could see, King's Disease is cool, and I still wouldn't say that King's Disease one was part of my top five, but I definitely would say I can see King's Disease 2 because of how it sounds. I wouldn't say it's evolution, but adaptability of where Nas is now, and how the album now sounds, and how it now is connected to current times, but still being a little nostalgia. You know, I think if I think about the only regret that I think about King's Disease 2, and we were really hear Nas spit and say some things, is I know he's capable of it, and I still think when we go back to most recent times, and I think Cop Shot the Kid joint that he did with Ye was dope, but I don't think I wish that every album at least had one heavy banger boom bap albums like we got with Locomotive that Large Professor produced, and he goes into New York streets and talks that talk, and you literally feel like Nas is one of the greatest storytellers we've ever heard. And really like you're literally sitting on the corner, you can see everything through his eyes, and he's telling you what's happened. And some people say that why would you say that Stillmatic is in your top three? I think if you listen to the songs, One Mic, and I think one of the most underrated songs in Nas's catalog is Rewind. No one's told a story at that level, for one, but to tell it from the end of the story to the beginning is mind-blowing, and how it fits and how he actually does the actions in reverse. And I think when you even see the video of Rewind, it is off the charts. So listen, that's where I think that album rates, and I definitely have it in my top 5. But I think if you haven't got a chance to listen to King's Disease, I definitely would tell you that you probably need to listen to it. And I'm sure I'm going to be listening to it a lot more. It is a very excellent project. I wouldn't say it's his best project. Let's not be confused. This is not going to change the culture forever like Illmatic did. This is not going to be the creative masterpiece that it was written was. But I think King's Disease 2 is an album that I wouldn't say cements Nas's status, but I would definitely say that he is capable of making fantastic music still. And you can see his evolution and his desire to be just that, an artist. So if you haven't checked it, check out King's Disease 2. I would definitely give, if I'm giving it the good old source rating, giving it 4 out of 5 mics. I think there's some opportunity, a couple tracks that haven't hit with me, didn't hit with me from the beginning, but I could let it ride and not touch it. And I wouldn't say that I love it front to back, but I think there's more than enough substance there that we have a 4 out of 5 mic album, which is really good. Some guys get upset that it's not a 5 out of 5 or a 4.5 out of 5, but this is a 4 micer. Some people will say 3.5, and 3.5 is still really good. But when we see that King's Disease won a Grammy, I would be disappointed if there is no nominations. Not that that's the be all and end all for how good an artist is, but King's Disease 2 definitely deserves more love than King's Disease 1. Why? Because it's flat out a better album. It's better produced. The features make it come to life. It is more relevant. And I just think overall it's a doper album. So check it out if you haven't heard it. King's Disease 2. Hopefully we get some new exciting music from other artists, and maybe there'll be a remix or two on this album. And yeah, that would be dope. So on that note, thank you for listening. Sinks, Rhymes, and Life. We went heavy on Nas. King's Disease 2. Check it.